What's up? Welcome in on a Lunchtime Live. We made it to the end of the week. You know what the drill is around these parts here. We made it to Friday. You made it to Friday. Maybe you're half-assing it. Maybe you're phoning it in. Maybe you're on a work call, and that's a good cover for just listening to us. Either way, you know what we do around here. Give yourselves that collective pat on the back. You did it. We're almost at a weekend. We almost made it through our first week post-NFL. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about. And when I say a lot of stuff to talk about, I can promise you today that we are going in a million different directions across the board without a shadow of a doubt. First and foremost, Leonardo Giannoni is the goalie from Switzerland, if you were watching yesterday's show. No strawberries, as far as I can tell, have been consumed on today's show, but that doesn't mean we're not going to go back to that conversation. And as a special treat, fresh off the islands at this point last week, he was in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean somewhere. Vegas Mack gets to join me on a Lunchtime Live. What's up, buddy?
Oh man, I'm excited. A Friday and a little bit of rain outside. I went for a nice walk with the dog and I'm ready to go.
There's a lot of stuff going on, man. Like for this time of the year.
Oh, there is.
And for what's going on, and we have an Olympic break, and we have, this, that, and the other thing going on. There's a lot to talk about. Ryan Smith getting into a pissing contest on Twitter with several people in the NBA. I hate to tell you, but you brought this on yourself. We have the ultimate Mike Arana show coaching staff being assembled right before our very eyes in the NFL. We've also got more on the Philadelphia Phillies situation, the shockingly and stupidly late release of Nick Castellanos yesterday. We've got some updates on the ABS and MLB challenge system. We're going to try and help you navigate the waters on how the hell you watch your baseball team. We've got some college hoops hot seats ahead of a big weekend that are opening up. We've got some interesting games tonight. We're going to give you our weekend watch list. We're going to jump our 2 feet into the debate as far as why the players should or should not be the fifth major in golf. Adam Silver makes an ill-fated attempt to curb tanking and a bunch of other stuff going on. I don't even know where to start. Feel free to comment along if you're watching along. Follow us on all of our social channels at Mike Arana Show, everywhere but Snapchat, because we're not 12 and Snapchat sucks. And yes, that does include back on Facebook. For those of you that might have missed it earlier this week, I've waved the white flag as far as our attempt to get our original page back. As we found out this week, I feel way better about it, Mack, because our guy You Got Roz, one of our FOPs, said, hey, you know what? The reality of the situation is there was way too much sexiness going on from the three of us, and that's why our Facebook page got down. So I'm going to put this up for you guys. If you see that on Facebook, that is us. It is hard to mistake us, but that is the banner at the top of our new Facebook page. Make sure you get on over there and click on that, and it goes a long way. We won't be able to broadcast the show live on Facebook until about April 10th. I don't make the rules, but apparently we're going to follow them, even though we didn't break them the first time. Mac, every year at the Olympics, there's always funny stories, and God forbid the NHL could actually use highlights of the Olympics when they shut down their own league to bring the NHLers over to the Olympics, but you can't use those. Some of the things that people are doing to show you highlights right now, including the teams in the NHL using their own players' bobbleheads to illustrate what happened. Fantastic stuff. Everybody who's running with it on X right now, I love it. Here's the other thing. Every year we've heard this story, and it's been kind of an ongoing tradition, I guess, that goes back some time. And this is not how I thought I would start the show, but with the way that the show has kind of taken its pathway this week, I found it funny that there was a strawberry next to the story, just randomly. Free condoms have run out at the Olympics, Mac. Athletes have used up the strategic stock of 10,000 contraceptives in a record 3 days. Organizers found themselves in a rather awkward position and promise a new batch, but the timing remains unclear, according to this report. For comparison, 300,000 condoms were distributed to the athletes at the 2024 Paris Olympics. The tradition of handing out contraceptives has existed since 1988 and was interrupted only once at the Tokyo Games in 2020 due to COVID. The other site that I saw this supply that ran out, or the story of the supply running out in just 3 days, They made the Olympic rings out of colored condoms. Are you surprised that we've run out
Jeez.
of the condom supply already in Milan?
Well, from what I've seen and heard, the food isn't real good in the for the players. So apparently they have to have something else to do besides go and get food. So apparently, but it's not the first time, like you said. This is, I guess, it's an Olympic thing. In some sports you exchange uniforms. In the Olympics, I'll let you finish the rest.
Yeah, you can finish the rest on your own. Because knowing the way the show's gone this week, that could go way downhill. And just remember, athletes that are over there representing their countries in Italy, it is always important in life to wrap the cannoli. You never want to leave the cannoli unwrapped as you go through the games. Plenty of fun stuff going on in the Olympics. I was watching, and excuse me for being ignorant here, but I am not a snowboarder. I can't ski. I can't skate. I can't do any of the stuff that these people are doing. I don't remember what I was watching this morning. It was like a snowboard race. Fascinating shit, man. Like I know we've had this conversation. And when it comes down to it, what you're going to watch right now, are you going to watch the World Baseball Classic or the Olympics? I know you're always going to watch the World Baseball Classic. Doesn't do much for me. Maybe my fascination with the Olympics is just the random stuff that we never really get to see very often on TV. But the athletic prowess of all of these athletes for all of these countries that are over there never ceases to amaze me. I don't know what the hell they were doing, but it was pretty damn interesting today.
Yeah, I mean, you watch like some of those skiers, like the moguls that go down and it seems like they're hitting, 500 just bumps one after another and they're making their way down the hill. And then at the very end, they do a flip and, all kinds of stuff. It's like these are things that, you and I, we made up these games in the backyard and you go, oh man, this would be a great game. We would just try it until somebody broke something or something got broken. It just kind of feel as though that's like some of these games, that's kind of, I think, like the origin of them.
Yeah, and it's like you brought up the moguls and the skiing stuff. Like every time
Yeah.
I watch that, it makes my knees hurt just
Oh,
literally just watching it. Like I can't get into the figure skating as much, but there's pretty much anything else at the Olympics. I'm all over it. Curling, like every night that curling
how
is
can you
being
not?
put into like prime viewing time. Amazing, dude. Absolutely amazing. I saw a funny video on X. Robot vacuum. Dude was curling down his hallway with his robot
Yes.
vacuum. Like the creativity going on, because we're not allowed to show any of the damn highlights from the Olympics, God forbid, talking about the spirit of the sport. But here we are.
Yeah. So, this brings me to my curveball to you today. And this is always something I love this debate. I give this debate to the kids every year. And so I'm going to throw it out to you because it happens more in the winter games than anything else. The definition of sport versus competition. Okay. And I've always gone with this. A sport is where you get an outcome determined by players. A competition is something that is determined by judges. And I always get people in an uproar. I say like cheerleading. Cheerleading is a competition. It's not a sport. It's no different than going to the fair and eating an apple pie. Somebody is judging it. Same with like figure skating. Figure skating to me is not a sport. It is a competition. Oh my gosh, does that kind of ruffle some people's feathers? So your thoughts on that? Sport or competition, does it matter to you if it's something is being, because again, my idea is that it's being judged. It's somebody's opinion whether or not you completed something or did something correct versus an outcome that is determined by players or individuals.
This is way too much thought for me on a Friday here, but I'll indulge. I'll
Okay.
take a bite out of the strawberry, if you will, here.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, if it's a judge, if there's a judge involved, I go back to a chicken wing eating contest or a state fair, chili cook-off, or
Right.
even to dumb it down to like a kid level, like a science fair, which is
Right.
things in the
Correct.
McKenzie house that the McKenzie
Yes.
kids dominate, as we found out last week.
Dominant. Absolutely.
I think if you got a judge, it should be considered and has to be considered a competition as opposed to a sport. That's where I'd sit on that there. Because if you're relying on some tool bag, speaking of, we'll see this tomorrow night with the NBA's dunk contest for whatever that's worth to anybody. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. But I think if you have a judge, it has to be considered a competition. It's not a sport to me at that point. I think that line is pretty clear to delineate. You know what's not a clear line to delineate? Let's jump into this Phillies situation.
Oh.
As we literally were saying on the show yesterday, the Phillies, if you missed it, have released Nick Castellanos, owing him still $20 million into the final season of a 5-year, $100 million contract. And, of course, after these things happen, we start to hear all the other stuff. Well, then speaking of creative ways to kind of state your case here, Nick Castellanos decided to go on his Instagram and handwrite a letter explaining said incident that came out yesterday. Castellanos was benched last season after he made what Phillies manager Rob Thompson considered an inappropriate comment after he was pulled for a defensive replacement in Miami. Castellanos said in September communication with Thompson had been questionable, at least in his experience. This all goes back to that same game. He went down into the clubhouse, grabbed himself an El Presidente beer, popped it open, and brought it into the dugout. Nick, you kind of can't do those kind of things, but I give Nick Castellanos credit for owning up to it and explaining the situation. And apparently him and the Phillies brass and Topper all sat down the day after the game and, hashed it out. But this thing has been it's been coming years in the making here. Again, the timing of this is idiotic. And now that this story has come out, you wonder how many teams are going, hey, is this guy like all in on this thing? What's going on here? I think there's obviously going to be suitors for Castellanos, without a doubt. There's plenty of teams that could use his bat when it's on. We know is one of the better ones in baseball, but where does he end up here? You weren't with us yesterday. The timing of this, your thoughts on the timing and your thoughts on the situation as a whole, because for the Phillies starting spring training, definitely not the way I am sure that they want it to start.
I understand where the Phillies are coming from. They didn't want him even to be in camp, so they waited until the last possible second, if you will, in order to get rid of him. You had to understand when they signed Adolis Garcia that, even more of the writing was it was a permanent marker on the wall that, Castellanos wasn't coming back. My thing is this. Unfortunately, one of the things that happens during spring training is there are injuries or people don't play well. And I think that you could probably find somebody, especially, somebody who, let's be honest, he's not a good defender, but he does have some pop in his bat. This is a guy that somebody will take, and definitely will take now, because here's the bottom line. You're going to take a guy on where you only have to pay him the major league minimum. And so, but again, I think it's one of those things. I think the Phillies knew probably even at some point last year that, they weren't going to bring him back. They tried like heck to shop him all through last season, all through the offseason. And I think probably as a last kind of, slap in the face, if you want to call it that, we're going to wait until the last day we possibly can and then release you. Now you're out of a job.
So yeah, and it's going to be interesting. And there's a list out today, Mack, and I'll let you get back to your point there, not to cut you off, but sure. Josh Davis put out an interesting list, so maybe this helps with where you're going. You've got San Diego, Cleveland, Miami, and Colorado are the 4 rumored most likely landing spots. Colorado would make sense because, they could provide the beer and you could provide the position in the dugout, because you have to be drunk to watch the Rockies. Out of those 4 teams, and with what you said, Castellanos still having some pop in the bat, I think San Diego and Cleveland are the most interesting ones to me. You can jump right into the Dodger-Padre thing in the NL West as the Padres attempt to try and run down the Dodgers in the regular season. I think Cleveland is a really interesting spot because Cleveland was like almost dead last in runs scored, and their right field production was terrible last year. Do you see a spot, maybe not one of those teams, where Castellanos at 33 years old and fully healthy could be a benefit?
Yeah, I was when this came out, I was kind of went through some teams, and it's so hard at this point of the year because for the most part everybody's healthy and it kind of looks good. I don't think the Colorado one. I just don't think that they're going to want to take on a veteran like that. That to me it doesn't make sense. I think from like what you just said, I think the Cleveland thing definitely makes sense to me because they definitely need some pop in that lineup. I think that would be a really good spot for him. Plus, being a veteran, with that clubhouse and whatnot, I think that would be a good spot for him. I don't know if you want to bring him on a younger Colorado's Rockies team. But what I was going to say before that is the first thing when I heard that, you know what? It gave me a flashback to the Boston Red Sox. Remember the beer and fried chicken scandal with John Lester? And that's the first thing I thought of. It's like, oh my gosh, here we go again.
I mean, Boston definitely doesn't need him. There's a plethora of outfielders
No.
in Boston, but it's
No.
going to be interesting to see how that kind of shakes out with him being available. And we've talked about it. There's still some guys available as we enter spring training here and everything else. More baseball news that we're going to get to. The MLB and the ABS challenge system for 2026. We've got this kind of finalized now. This came out kind of late yesterday. And then there's some interesting tweaks to this. One of these I do not like whatsoever because the whole point of the pitch clock, Mac, was to shorten game times, make the game more watchable, move it along faster. And I think as much as I hammer Rob Manfred, and I will get back to hammering Rob Manfred here in just a few minutes, but one of the things that he has done that's worked out really well is the pitch clock. So of the new changes for this season, if a team enters extra innings without a challenge, they will be given an extra one every inning of extra innings. The challenges will not accumulate if not used. Thank God. Teams will never have more than one challenge per extra inning unless they entered extra frames with their original 2 intact. A pitch may not be challenged if a position player is pitching. Thank God for that. The league is measuring the standing height of each player to determine their individual strike zone, which always is a gray area. When you got Jose Altuve and Aaron Judge, when we're trying to figure out where the strike zone is. The strike zone will be slightly smaller than the umpire's called strike zone, and it is possible for both an ABS challenge and a video replay challenge to occur on the same play. If that happens, the ball strike call will be adjudicated first, followed by the video replay on the bases. The new changes to the ABS system, what do you think about it as we head into a full year with this?
You know, as I watched a lot of minor league baseball last year, I thought they did a really good job with it. It wasn't something that took a long time. I mean, we see it on our screen, right? I mean, almost every game now, you see the strike zone with the pitch comes in. It shouldn't take very long. This should be, within seconds, we should know the answer to this. So I don't think that, to me, that's not a big deal. The play on the what they say discretion on plays is very interesting to me because does this become now a situation that teams try to exploit? You have that runner on first. Do you try to now steal him in that situation? And from a defensive standpoint, are you teaching your catchers, hey, don't throw the ball, just say that, I thought he called ball 4. I think that's a problem. I think it's interesting to see if that gets exploited at all. And like I said, are teams going to try to run more now in that situation? That's the first thing that came to my mind. Other than that, like I said, I watched the system in the minor leagues. It didn't seem to have any problems. It seemed like it ran well. It worked well. I didn't see too many cases where it didn't work well. So, if it was me, like during spring training, I'd say have as many challenges as you want. You know what I mean? To try the system out. Let players try it out. That's what spring training should be for. So that would be like, in essence, the only tweak that I would make towards it is let them kind of experiment as much as you want in spring training.
I like this because I think it was cool when we tested it out last year, and you got to see everybody in the stadium gets to see it at the same time as all the players. So I think that's a nice thing. I don't like the fact that it's going to take away some of that ineffective arguing that we see in like Aaron Boone's spotlight a little bit as far as arguing balls and strikes go. But it's going to make its debut when Netflix makes its first ever MLB broadcast debut in the regular season as the San Francisco Giants will host the New York Yankees at 8:05 Eastern on a Wednesday night standalone game with the new MLB TV deal, which we'll get to that in a second here. But I think it's going to be a good thing. I think it's going to be an effective thing, and I do love the fact that like everybody sees it in real time, all at the same time, and that part of it to me is cool. I don't
Yeah,
think this is a bad thing at all.
no, I don't. I mean, I wish we could exchange it out for the Ghost Runner, to quite be honest with you. The other thing that I thought was interesting in the announcement that they made, they talked about the base coaches being in the, if you will, the third base, the coaching box before the pitch is thrown in an attempt to take away pitch stealing. And I'll tell you what, I have a bigger problem with that. I really, truly do. And I'm going to tell you why. That's part of the game. Not the Houston Astros using video to relay signs, but stealing signs from the catchers, trying to figure out what that's as old as baseball itself. And I kind of have a problem with that. The second part to that is, what are they going to do? What's the penalty? If your third base coach isn't in the penalty box, what's the penalty? Is it a strike on the batter? I mean, so I'm kind of confused. What's going to stop them from doing that?
Nothing, and I do agree with you. I mean, it's part of the game. It's been part of the game for a long time here, and it'll be interesting to see. The third base, first base, coach box thing. Whatever, I don't really care. I mean, it wasn't that big of a deal, but let's make a big deal out of it. For those not familiar, and let's circle back here just for a second. So for those not familiar with what this is, every team is going to start the game with 2 challenges. We already talked about the extra innings thing. It will be used in every single game at an MLB ballpark. That's key to remember here, because there are some exceptions. The Mexico City series between the Diamondbacks and the Padres, April 25th and 26th. The Field of Dreams game, which is the Twins and Phillies on August 13th, and the Little League Classic between the Brewers and Braves on August 23rd. Those ones will not have the challenge system in place because they're not Major League ballparks. Yes, it will be used in the postseason. The batter and the pitcher can challenge the strike call by tapping their helmet on an umpire's call. Nobody else can, not even the manager. That's key to remember here. Challenges must be made immediately after the umpire's call without the assistance from the dugout or other players. How is the call reviewed? We already talked about that. It'll be reviewed on the big board. And, it does. I like this fact of it, too. It does add a little bit of strategy to the sport, because it's entirely incumbent on the player at the plate to be kind of judicious about this. And we saw last year when they were testing it out in spring training, a couple of the guys joking, first pitch of the game, challenging it just to get a rise out of the other pitcher, friends, and all that stuff. But you don't want to waste them in low leverage spots in the second inning, because you only get 2 of them. So in that sense, it does add a lot of strategy to the sport. I do like that. I know a lot of baseball purists don't.
Yeah, the one that kind of would crack me up. The old adage that 3-0 pitch, just throw it somewhere around the strike zone, and the umpire is going to call it a strike. It'd be interesting to see if it that would be an aspect where if it changes, because you still see that. You still see 3-0 pitches that sometimes get called strikes, and you're like, there's no way that that's a strike. That's just trying to move the game on a little bit. So it'd be interesting to see, like you said, where's the strategy? Do you use this in the first inning when you have 2 guys on and that's a ball 4 that loads the bases? Or, do you wait and keep them, later in the game when you really need them? Or do you use it just as a distraction, like you said, just to kind of to get a pitcher off rhythm, or to to see how things are? It'd be interesting to see how teams see if certain teams use them a certain way.
Yeah, and if everybody is wondering about the extension of time that didn't see this in spring training last year, from the testing that they've done, you're talking about, we saw the 26 minutes cut down out of the game because of the pitch clock situation. The average time that these reviews take in totality is about 57 seconds. So we're talking less than a minute. That's the other nice thing about the process. One of the things that everybody bitches about in the NFL is why some plays that are so obviously easily overturned take excessive time to sit there in the little TV box, under the hood and figure it out. So all in all, for baseball, a good thing. A couple of player notes, if you will. This one's hilarious to me because Joey Loberfido is headed back to Houston, where he came from in the first place, as the Astros reacquire him today for outfielder Jesus Sanchez with the Toronto Blue Jays. Astros general manager Dana Brown said after announcing the move, quote, "We're not done yet," during an impromptu meeting with reporters at the team's spring training facility. "This is just one of the moves that we're locking into as we continue to focus on left-handed bats and the future of this organization." Mac, I think and we've talked about this a lot, the top-heavy, at least on paper, right out of the gates, American League. The Tigers, the Mariners, the Blue Jays, the Orioles, what are the Red Sox going to do? Are they going to be in the mix? Are the Astros going to get back into the mix? And seemingly every time we count the Astros out, they find their way into the mix. They ran out of gas last year. They're still putting together the new form going forward of the Astros. Interesting that they bring Loperfido back after trading him last year. I don't think this is a needle mover for either team, but I don't think it's a bad move as far as filling out your roster for either team.
No, and like you said, we're never sure what we're going to get with the Astros. There's still a lot of talk with Paredes being traded. I don't know that that's going to happen. I don't know that the Astros were kind of really in onto that. I think a lot of other teams were, but I don't know if they were. But yeah, there's, without going crazy, I mean, there's still some teams that, I start to look at, how are the Texas Rangers going to rebound? That's a team. I don't think this is a playoff team, but the Chicago White Sox were real active in the offseason, and the Chicago White Sox, I think, could be a little bit better. And don't forget your Kansas City Royals. Your Kansas City Royals, they kind of had a little bit of a down year. Still 82-80, kind of took maybe a baby step back, but, can they take that next step forward? So there's a lot going on in the American League, a lot of really good teams. It's going to be interesting. I can't wait to do our preview.
Yeah, absolutely. And that'll be coming up here in just a few weeks as we'll go division by division and then give our season preview show. Which team do I latch on next? I was on the Commanders. I was on the Bears. I was on the Royals. It seems like the best picks I make are the ones at the beginning of the year, and don't follow me for the rest of the year as far as my picks, or fade me entirely, which is a wise way to go. Let's talk about the elephant in the room now. We know that we have baseball back on NBC, and they're putting together one hell of a crew to deliver it. We know that ESPN is still involved in baseball, but no longer a part of Sunday Night Baseball or the postseason. And now we've got 21 clubs who will be available to have their games streaming in market with blackouts as follows. I'm not going to read the list. It's most of the league. Where it gets interesting is how in the hell do I watch my team play? And last week, a couple of stories came out, much as if when ESPN added the WWE to their new app that's called ESPN, like the old app was, just add the word unlimited to it. Now you can purchase MLB.TV through ESPN, and it's an add-on. All this mess. It's an absolute disaster. So from MLB.com and Anthony Castro Vince, your complete guide to watching MLB TV in 2026. Here's the important parts. We're not going to read the whole article to you because it's a disaster. If you're an existing MLB.TV subscriber, you will be renewed automatically through your MLB.TV account. You can continue to access the streaming content in the MLB app, just as always, or utilize your MLB TV subscription within the ESPN app. If you're an existing ESPN Unlimited subscriber, you can purchase MLB.TV as an add-on feature. These fans will have the opportunity to purchase an MLB.TV subscription for $134.99 for the season instead of $149.99. You will have the option to stream MLB.TV through either the MLB or ESPN app. If you were a new customer to MLB TV without an existing, that's where I'm going to stop. Because, again, this could have been made simple, straightforward, easy as hell. Work out a deal here, work out a deal here. Here's your price. This is not a good thing for the game. It's a disaster. It's created all kinds of confusion. And yet again, I say the same thing. Why are we going into another baseball season where fans of a specific team are going, how in the hell do I watch my team play this year, Mac? Why is this not blatantly obvious to the people that make the decisions for baseball?
STUPID. Stupid. This whole thing is, and listen, I am putting not baseball. I'm putting all professional sports on blast right now. Listen, I am sick and tired of having to construct some sort of scientific investigation on a weekly and daily basis as to how to even watch a friggin' game. It's on this one. It's here. It's there. It's over here. I have to hear my wife complain to me every year. Why can't I watch the Red Sox? Well, sweetie, they're on Fox. I don't care. I pay $100 for. This is so stupid, and I get it. We have all these streaming, and everybody wants a piece of it. But you know what? Why? It's very inconvenient. It really is very inconvenient. I don't mind that you have one or maybe two places, but like I know like T says that all the time. He's like, where are we watching it football this week? I mean, there's 5 or 6 different places. Same with baseball. Listen, here's the thing about baseball that I love. I love the continuity of baseball. I love listening to my announcers on my team. That's what I like, whether that's on radio or television. That's what I like. I don't on a Friday night, no offense, want to listen to somebody who I don't know call my team's game. Or I even hate the ESPN, whoever I was doing Sunday night, because the Red Sox play a lot of Sunday nights. Listen, I want to listen to my guys. That's why when those games are on, I put the radio on. I want to hear my guys. I'm sick and tired of all those, and I'm again stupid. All professional sports, figure it out. Make it easy for the fans, because you're not. It's too much.
That's exactly
Yeah,
right. And
Billy.
there's another check-in right there from Billy V. Too
Yeah.
many streaming services to choose from. Everybody wants a piece of the pie. Unfortunately, it's not going to change, but
No.
there is some hope on the horizon, if you will, a little bit. We've heard this week that finally, after talking about it forever, just like the custom multi-view that's still not custom multi-view from YouTube TV, that they are starting to unveil some what they call skinny subscriptions. The irony is the skinny subscription, if you just want all the channels that show sports on YouTube TV, it's the price that YouTube TV was when YouTube TV started becoming popular. Now I'm cool with that, because instead of paying like $108 a month for YouTube TV and having like 18 versions of effing Nickelodeon that I never turn on, cool. I'm going to scan through literally just the sports channels, and that's all I get. So I'm happy, because that is a little bit of a way to save me money. What they have not said yet is if that skinny pack that just gives you the sports channels is enough to qualify you to have the NFL Sunday ticket, which I'm going to guess, based on the way it goes the first year that they roll this thing out, you're going to have the full pack, and I'm not going to save any money. So what was the point of announcing this anyways? I've said it a million times, Mac. I don't mind streaming, because I'm tired of going to bars and watching some poor bartender who's got a full bar have to pull out 82 remotes and figure out which one controls what TV, and, in waiting and missing 15 minutes of what I want to see. I've dropped my phone on the bar. I watch what I want. If I want to hear it, I turn it on, trying to be respectful, because,
Right.
again, these people that have cell phone conversations on speakerphone in public, I want to punch in the face, but that's a different story for a different day. But get it together. Like, at no point should we continue to screw the consumer here. Like, I don't mind if you told me you're going to pay $100 a month, Mike, for this, and if you want your add-on packages, this is what it'll cost you monthly or the season. It's easy to figure out. That's how DirecTV used to be until they got greedy, and then the whole thing. Give me the price, and don't make me have to flip from YouTube TV to Peacock to Amazon Prime to Apple TV to the Olympic streaming condom network, or whatever the hell we want to call it here.
Jeez,
Just let me be able to stay within the same avenue. I don't mind paying X amount to add the MLB to my package. But if I'm going to pay you $150, and the people in Iowa are the ones I feel the worst for. There's 6 teams in Major League Baseball considered in market for the people in Iowa who don't have a professional baseball team or a professional any team in Iowa. That's where it gets idiotic.
Yeah.
If I'm paying $200, I can watch everybody. You're not forcing me by not letting me watch the Diamondbacks to go drive an hour from where I live to go watch the damn Diamondbacks. I'm not going to do it.
Right. I mean, and that's always been my biggest thing. Like, I get the blackout, but I don't get the blackout. I mean, I know why they do it, but I mean, it just doesn't make sense at all. Like, if I'm paying money to watch games, I should be able to watch everything. It's so, Mike, it's different. I mean, I get it. Like, I always, this is my last day. this is my last day as I am at this age. Tomorrow I'm a year older tomorrow. You know, I'm a year older tomorrow. I'm an old guy. I remember. Listen, you
100
had your
tomorrow, baby. You look great for
what?
100, Mac.
Thanks, man. Listen, I get it. You used to have the Saturday afternoon game. You know, you had the Monday night game, and you know what? If your team had, you know, and I was lucky. I lived in Connecticut. We had the Red Sox. They were on, you know, TV 38 before Nesson. You know, we could watch the games, and that was it. Those were the games that you got. You didn't have to worry about it. It was your market. It was your team, and that was it. And I know not everybody had that, but now I get it. It's different. We can watch games. Why black them out? We're not going or not going to a game because it's on TV or not on TV. We're beyond that. Again, stupid. It's stupid.
There you go. A spelling lesson from a guy who is literally hours away from being 100 years old. There
That's
you go.
right.
Feel free to comment along if you're watching along. We'll get as many of them up on the screen. Let's move to some college basketball. We've got a fun weekend ahead of us. But we're going to start with what's not going to be a fun couple of weeks for a lot of different guys here. Let's take a look at some of the hot seats in college basketball, because this is about the time of the year we can see who's on their way out the door and who's not. Shout out to Brendan Marks of The Athletic. He put together quite the list of guys who are on the hot seat. The ACC is going to come up pretty prevalent here, so buckle up and hang on. Right now, guys who are in absolute danger of losing their jobs, just in the ACC. Adrian Autry at Syracuse, they're looking at missing their third consecutive NCAA tournament under him. Jeff Capel at Pitt, 9-16, 2-10 in the ACC. His seat not quite as hot as Autry's, but it's getting pretty damn close. Steve Forbes at Wake Forest, 12-12 right now, getting warmer by the day. They're going to need one hell of a showing in the ACC tournament. Earl Grant up on Chestnut Hill at Boston College, 9-15, 2-9 in the ACC. BC, they've got one of the lowest NIL budgets in higher major college basketball, so despite the struggles, it's going to be difficult to see anybody get in that job and have success. He's getting warmer. Damon Stoudemire, Georgia Tech, a guy who was coming up the coaching ranks, Mac, and a lot of people thought was going to be in for the long haul. They're 11-14, 2-10 in the ACC. That's just the ACC. I'm going to tell you right now that one of these jobs is already a done deal, should be a no freaking brainer for when they blow the coach out. Assess those 5 jobs in the ACC, or 6, however many I just went through there. Is there one you think is surprising? Is there one you think that has the power to be a good program? Without naming the name of the guy I know you're thinking about just yet, because we'll get to him in a second.
You know, the one school. I mean, gosh Almighty, it is Syracuse. You know, that's the one. I mean, my brother-in-law's, you know, they're from that part of the country. We always go back about Syracuse and UConn and Syracuse and the Big East. And it's sad to me that, you know, I never liked Jim Boeheim. I always had a just thing against Jim Boeheim. But man, he just got the job done, right? I mean, bottom line, like they were going to be in the tournament every year, no matter what. It hurts me, honestly. It really, truly does, to not see Syracuse be a good basketball team, without a doubt.
Yeah, and, you know, the thing is, too, with the Syracuse job, and we see this all the time, we see this in every sport. I mean, you're replacing a legend. So let's call a spade here and be fair that, you know, when we're looking at the Syracuse job, Adrian Autry was set up for failure no matter what, unless he took Syracuse right to the Final Four and won a national championship. Right. There's a lot of people that are going to put one guy who's on the western part of the United States instantly into a guy that you would go, this is who Syracuse is going to hire. I'm going to tell you right now, Syracuse's guy is already coaching in college basketball, and he's coaching at Siena, and that's Jerry McNamara. Jerry McNamara, if he chooses to leave early, or Syracuse is smart enough, they're going to go get a former Cuse player to replace Autry. The interesting thing is Autry and McNamara, their families are very close. Their wives are very close here. To me, it's screaming in like bright orange lights atop the RCA Dome, bring Jerry back home. I think if Syracuse does what we're expecting them to do and they blow out Adrian Autry, you would be an absolute buffoon, a fool, an idiot, every STUPID as you just spelled out, not to call Jerry McNamara first to take over the Syracuse job, because what he's doing at Siena, fantastic stuff right now. Let's go into some of the other conferences here. And this one I know is near and dear to your heart. Ed Cooley at Georgetown, 13-11, 5-8 in the Big East, has not worked out since he left Providence.
Nope.
I don't know if that's a for sure. And as this article goes here that we're referring to by Brendan Marks, he classifies that job as a lukewarm seat. I don't know if they're going to blow him out yet, but it can't be very far off. Speaking of Providence, Kim English, 11-14, 4-10 in the Big East. That temperature check he classifies as hot. So out of those two jobs in the Big East, which one do you think pulls the trigger first? Georgetown or Providence?
Well, I think it'll be Providence. I think they'll give Cooley just another run at it, another year or so. Maybe I think I got the guy for Providence though. He's that guy. That guy we don't want to talk about. Can you imagine? No, seriously.
I know.
We talked about it.
Don't say his name yet. We're gonna get to him in a second. Keep that one in the bag. Keep that one in the bag.
I got
it. Let's look at the Big Ten. Jake Diebler's an interesting one at Ohio State. He's 16-8, 8-6 in the Big Ten. And when he came in as the interim coach down the stretch in 2023 for 24, 6-2, they beat Purdue after Chris Holtman was fired. And he's 32-33 as a full-time coach at Ohio State. And he's got him in tournament contention, but right now, if you're looking at some of the bracketologists, they're in that group of last four in. And before you know it, Selection Sunday is going to be here, folks. Is Ohio State going to be okay with just kind of meddling in the middle of a very competitive Big Ten for very long? I think that's an interesting one to look at. Steve Pickle at Rutgers, 9-15, 2-11 in the Big Ten. The huge expectations last year with Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. And they just really haven't been able to get it done. This season, they've been atrocious. It was hard for a long time to go into the rack and beat Rutgers, and it's not anymore because they're not putting up any competition. Pickles' buyout after this year is $20 million. Unsurprisingly, that figure will almost certainly keep Pickles safe. But Rutgers has reportedly promised to increase the NIL pool here, and maybe they're a little gun-shy because of the Bailey-Harper situation. I think that's an interesting one. The Big 12, and here we go. We want to talk about a scorching seat? Ironically, the Sun Devils have the scorchingest seat in the Big 12, and that's Bobby Hurley. Hurley came out, and we talked about this. We talked about this a little bit. I know we're going to have a little more thoughts on our social channel this weekend about it, but Hurley came out and said he's failing and that his voice isn't getting through to his players, which that tells you everything you need to know. Somebody asked him the other day after one of their games, hey, what's your plan to fix the rebounding? And he kind of laughed it off, and he goes, if we can't rebound now, we're not going to get any better at rebounding for the rest of the year. He's defeated. Like, I'm not going to say he's quit because that's not Bobby Hurley. And if you followed Bobby Hurley's career, his life, his coaching path, his playing path, he's not a guy that's going to quit. This is just not a fit. Arizona State is not a basketball school, and we talked about that the other day. Bobby Hurley should be attached to a lot of those jobs in the Big East and the ACC that could be open, just like we just talked about there. I don't think there's any way Bobby Hurley is the head coach at Arizona State, and I'm talking like the day after the Big 12 tournament is over. I don't think there's any way possible. And if ASU is not smart enough to figure this out, then they really have no clue what the hell they're doing, and they got lucky with the Kenny Dillingham hire, who just got a contract extension. Shout out Dilly. You know, this Hurley thing, it's got to stop at Arizona State, for Bobby and for Arizona State, because it's not working for either one of them.
No, I mean, like you said, I think as soon as that final whistle goes, that'll be it for Hurley. There's just no way they shouldn't have brought him back this year. I think he was over his head last year. It just has not worked out there. Again, like you said, not that he's not a good coach. We know what his pedigree is. He is a good coach. He's just got to find the right spot. And we talked about what is the right spot. You know, we talked about he's an ACC guy. He's an East Coast guy. That's where his roots are. That's where his dad was. That's where his brother is. And like you said, they could be. I think some of those lower tier ACC teams would be good. Like Pittsburgh would be good. Georgia Tech would be good. Wake Forest, those would be good. But I'm going to go with. I think this would be the best one of them all, and it would really. It would really suck for me. I'll say that because listen, the one team that UConn can't ever play good against is the Providence College Friars. Listen, his brother, before he went to UConn, was at URI. There is this animosity between his brother and the small state of Rhode Island, which I love, by the way. I love the state of Rhode Island. But there is a hate there. If I am Providence College, man, oh man, I would be on the phone the second that last game is over in his tournament and have him he would become a friar. And can you just imagine the heat that first game between UConn and Providence with Hurley versus Hurley? Jonathan always jokes about the fact that, hey, why does Hurley's dad never go watch Bobby coach? He's like, he's never at any of his games. I'm like, well, I always say, well, he's a Jersey guy. He doesn't want to go that far. But again, that's where his roots are. I think ACC Big East, that's where he needs to be. I think that would be good for him. He's going to have to do a redo. It's going to have to be a Georgia Tech, a Wake Forest, a Providence, a Georgetown. It's going to have to be something like that. He's not going to get a big name right off the bat.
No, not at all. Other names on this list, Wes Miller at Cincinnati. He had some comments going to the fans the other day after one of their games talking about how unacceptable the performance was. In the SEC, Matt McMahon at LSU really hasn't done much there. Whether or not LSU decides to pull the plug on that thing, $7.5 million, but LSU just spent $54 million to tell Brian Kelly to get the hell out of town, so money's not an object. Porter Mosier at Oklahoma, guy who was all the talk of the town and has really just left Oklahoma meddling in the SEC. Lamont Paris, Anthony Grant at Dayton, that's an interesting one. The Penny Hardaway situation at Memphis. I want to, before we move on here, talk about Jerome Tang because, talking about guys that should just stop talking. Jerome Tang the other day comes out after their game and he goes, "This was embarrassing. These dudes do not deserve to wear this uniform. There will be very few of them in it next year. It is ridiculous. We have practice at 6 a.m. I'm pissed. This is, yeah," and he walks off. I hate to break it to you, Jerome, but you're in your fourth year there. These aren't guys that were left for you. You recruited these guys. This falls directly on you. I have no problem with the coach putting his team on blast, but there's a difference between Dan Hurley putting his team on blast and Jerome Tang putting his team on blast. You're going to blast the team that you recruited for sucking in the way they go about things. Maybe the finger needs to be pointed right back at you. I think after the other night, that job's as good as done for Jerome Tang in Manhattan.
I 100% agree. Like you said, when you have your guys in there, you've got to figure it out. And listen, we've all been there. We've all tried to put teams together, and sometimes it doesn't work out the way that you do. But listen, you're still the guy that's responsible. You're still the one that's bringing them in. But that's not as bad and deep as the Hurley situation, but it's a 1A or 1B, let me tell you that.
About 10 minutes from now, we'll get you updated on what's going on out at Pebble Beach with the Pro-Am Mike versus Mack update. TJ making a splash in his debut, crashing the party there with some of his golfers. We've got some top 25 action tonight. Number 10, Michigan State at Wisconsin. That's an 8 p.m. Eastern tip-off on Fox. Number 18, St. Louis, the Billikens. We've talked about them a couple times this week. If you have not watched St. Louis play, tonight's a perfect night to do it. They're at Loyola Chicago. Loyola Chicago sucks. Speaking of Porter Mosier, this St. Louis team is really, really, really damn good, and they deserve to be ranked 18, and they deserve to be in the NCAA tournament. And then there's Ohio at Miami of Ohio, number 23 Miami of Ohio, who is still the lone unbeaten team in college basketball. That game, St. Louis game, is 8:30 Eastern on ESPN2. The Miami-Ohio game, 9 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. John Rothstein had a tweet yesterday, and if you're not following John Rothstein on X, you don't know what you're missing when it comes to college basketball. every team fighting for positioning here over these next couple of weeks, Mac, all of these games are extremely meaningful. And to all the dopes out there that want to extend March Madness and expand the field, again, Rothstein knocked it out of the park. All of these teams playing compelling and meaningful games over the next couple of weeks to get into the tournament. We talked about how Miami of Ohio, who can seemingly get screwed if they play one bad game in their conference tournament, they could be undefeated, lose the conference championship, and could get left out of the field, which I think is ridiculous. If we expand this tournament to 76, 78 teams, going back to Rothstein's tweet, all of the next couple of weeks gets completely diminished and it goes away, and they're not as meaningful because then Miami of Ohio is a shoo-in, then St. Louis is a shoo-in, then some rando-ass ACC team that ends up 500 in conference play and they play well in the ACC tournament gets in. Do not expand March Madness. The first time it shouldn't have been expanded. I don't know. I'm not going to speak for you here. I'll speak for me. The first round games, opening round games, the play, whatever the hell you want to call them, is partially giving Adam Silver away. He thinks that the NBA should be run, which is a crime. B, it takes away the meaningfulness of these last couple of weeks. And we talked about it. This week is the week that all these other sports start to get eyeballs. And if you water down the March Madness field, it's a complete crime and just a load of bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, I'm 100% in the same court as you, same side of the court as you even. I mean, we don't need more teams. Again, the last couple weeks of college basketball, the tournament, that's the best. I mean, it is the app. I mean, you can't have enough TVs, you can't have enough screens in your house to kind of fulfill what you really need to be watching at that time.
Yes, you can.
Okay. Oh, you can. All right. Well, maybe I'm coming over. But listen, that is the best part about college basketball. Yeah. Don't ruin it, guys. I mean, don't ruin it. We already have enough problems with football. Let's not ruin basketball.
No, not at all. Ranked on ranked crime as far as your Saturday schedule goes. College basketball decided to give Mack a birthday present tomorrow on his birthday. Number 20, Clemson is at number 4, Duke. That'll get your morning started. Number 9, Kansas at number 5, Iowa State. That's another 10 a.m. game on the West Coast. You've got St. John's at the always tricky Providence. Texas A&M and Vanderbilt. You've got Pittsburgh against North Carolina looking to bounce back off of that rando loss, and they're going to have to do it without Caleb Wilson. Kentucky and Florida, 25-14. That's in the middle of the day. Kansas State, if Jerome Tang thought the other night was bad, well, they play at Houston, 22-2 Houston. BYU hosts Colorado, so no need for a second-half comeback there. Louisville's at Baylor. That one's going to break a scoreboard. And Texas Tech and Arizona, Georgia and UConn, and then the night game. Again, I can't sell you on how much this game is going to be a lot of fun to watch. We talked about it with Mark Few's team. When they lose games to teams that they shouldn't lose to, they go on a friggin' warpath. Washington State figured that out the other night. Thank you very much, Zags, for covering the spread. But Gonzaga's at the Levy Center at Santa Clara to take on a 22-5 Santa Clara team for your late night hoops. We've got a full day of good college basketball tomorrow. I can't wait to get to it. I know you've got a full day of showering of birthday love in your house there. What's one game tomorrow that you're really looking forward to seeing before we get into our weekend watch list here?
Yeah, the one I have is Kansas at Iowa State. We watched Kansas the other night. Great win against Arizona. I always say this: it's only a great win if you can come back and win your next game. You don't want to have that letdown after a big win. So that's my thing. And really, this is a good chance. I want to really watch this Iowa State team. I watched them earlier in the year. I haven't watched them recently, so I want to see. I think this is a good test on the road. See what Kansas can do. Kansas has been playing absolutely phenomenal basketball, but can they keep it up against a good Iowa State team?
Yeah, and Iowa State looking to avenge their earlier loss to Kansas, which kind of set them in, I guess you could call it a mini free fall for Iowa State, because they lost that game at Kansas where they got their asses kicked, 84-63. Then they lost their next game on the road to Cincinnati. Since then, they've won 5 of their last 6. They did get upset the other night at TCU, but the stretch coming up for Iowa State, Kansas on Saturday, Then I believe that's a big Monday. Iowa State plays Houston in Ames. Then they're at BYU. They also have games to finish the year at home against Texas Tech and at the McHale Center against Arizona right before Big 12 conference play starts. And last year I bitched up and down, left and right, as long as I could about that horrible court in the Big 12 tournament. And this year they said, Mike, we heard you. So what we're going to do this year, LED courts for the Big 12 tournament. So last year it was just god-awful to watch. This year it's like, how many seizures can we induce while people are watching? Let's talk about the weekend watch list, Mac. We talked about it a little bit here. I view this, because I am a beacon of positivity, as a great opportunity to really dive into some of these other sports that are hitting their high points, getting close to conference tournaments, starting the second half of their season. My weekend watch list, pretty simple. Kentucky and Florida, just mentioned it. Gonzaga, Santa Clara on Saturday. Obviously, I'm going to watch the end of the Pebble Beach Pro-Am. We'll get to some updates on that. A couple guys having some great days today. And then at the top of my watch list, Saturday and Sunday, it's the men's Olympic hockey team. And T brought this up yesterday, and I wanted to get your take on it. They're in action on Saturday and on Sunday to finish pool play here. And it's a team that you got to kind of question the way it was constructed, and not against Latvia or anybody like that. There's a lot of goal scorers on this team. There's not a whole lot of playmakers. That being said, there was a couple of really pretty goals yesterday. But one thing I saw when it's coming to, like, we're getting towards the Canada conversation, there's a lot of guys on this team trying to keep everybody happy. And there's a lot, like Jack Eichel yesterday, I don't know how many shots he passed up that he should have pulled the ripcord on just to try and get somebody else the puck. And that's what I worry about. Do you worry about the lack of playmakers on this team? Because there's some tremendous goal scorers, but not guys that can create a ton of plays.
I'm going to say no, and here's why. When they play that game against Canada, it's and I mean, not that these other ones aren't like NHL quality teams, but you're basically playing another NHL team, if you will, an all-star team, if you will. And I think because they know what they need to do at that point. I think when they play, the better teams, the Swedes and teams that have more NHL players, I think they'll be all right. I'm not too worried about that.
All right, so what's on the Mackenzie Vegas Mac watch list for this weekend? What are you prioritizing?
Well, I put at the very top. I love watching the tournament at Pebble Beach. It's always a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun because it's a good field. It's a great course. There's always concerns about weather, and that plays a factor. We saw some of the weird videos from this past week in the first couple practice rounds with wind. So you never know what you're going to get at Pebble. So that's number one on my list. And then this weekend, it's opening weekend for so much. Mike, how can you miss it? The Daytona 500. It is. I know you're not a NASCAR guy, but listen, I love NASCAR. I love that you got to watch Daytona 500. There's not another sport. No, listen, there's not another sport that starts the season with the Super Bowl. This is it. Daytona 500. I got my guy. I'm ready. It's a big thing in the house. And like I said, it's opening weekend. I'm watching it right here, right now. It's happening. I'm watching Iowa at Kansas State. They're in Goodyear. They're playing in the Desert Invitational. It's opening day of college baseball. Ole Miss, Arizona. Baseball is back, Mike. It's college baseball. UConn is down in Arizona. They're playing in Tucson next week. We're going to probably go down there. Baseball is back, baby. What else can you say? It's opening weekend. NASCAR, baseball. I'm going to watch Maine at Duke. That's what I care about. That's baseball. Here we go.
I can't believe you just brought NASCAR into the show. Oh, look, he made a left. Oh, look, he made another left. Oh, look, he made another. No, not doing it. Not doing
Come
it.
on.
Absolutely not. College baseball starting, always excited. Yes. Always exciting. There's actually a couple games, as you mentioned, right down the street from me. I will not be in attendance, but it's starting. The NASCAR thing missed me with that nonsense. I'd rather watch curling. I'd rather watch. Actually, no, I'm going to take it like 10 steps further. Borderline, I might watch pairs figure skating before I would watch NASCAR because there's more.
You know what?
At least they go right.
I listen. We are going to come down and the whole family, and we are going to bring you to that one of those Phoenix races.
Did it
I
once.
think,
Don't need to do it
no,
again, my friend.
you are going to do it. We are going to do it up.
Nope.
I'll
Not
e-
happening.
I'll even buy, I'll buy all the beer.
Wife wants to take me out of the house today to get a pedicure, and I'm like, unless you drag my fat ass out the house, it's not happening. Same thing with NASCAR. Unless you physically drag me out of the house, and even then, it won't happen. So, not going to happen. All right, let's talk about golf right now because we got a couple guys today at Pebble Beach that are going low, brother. Akshay Bhatia and Ricky Fowler still on the course, mind you. Both at 7 under already today. Fowler started his round birdie, 31 on the front, 4 holes completed on the back. He's got 2 more birdies on the back. About the same for Bhatia right now. So they're 1-2. Rio Hisatune has not started, or actually he has started play. He's 2 under. He is 1 shot back of Fowler, 2 shots back of Bhatia, who is an outright first now at -14. As far as Mike versus Mack goes, kind of a jumbled mess here. Got her
None
up
of our guys are doing well.
Got her up in Hoagie, T13, Michael Kim, T34, Justin Rose, T44, Cameron Young, T52 with Jason Day. Day and Young still kind of early in their rounds here, but an interesting group here at the top. Outside of Hisatune, you've got Sam Burns in 4th, Matt Fitzpatrick, Patrick Rogers, the red-hot Minwoo Lee, Tommy Fleetwood, one of TJ's guys, who has no apparel sponsor, and I love what he's doing. He's just wearing gear from the course that they're playing every week. I hope this happens all year long. Sepp Straka also at a T5. Jordan Spieth, who, I mean, I'm not shocked he's playing well because he got sent out of Scottsdale 2 days early, so he had plenty of extra rounds there. Interesting stuff here. What is also interesting about this, Mac, is the Terminator is not playing great golf right now, and that's a good thing because we're starting to see some of these other guys really take advantage of the few times that Scotty Scheffler is not playing good golf. Last I saw Scheffler, here he is, T64 -1 right now, and in dead-ass last place, Aaron Rye, Brian Campbell, and Matt McCarty, and Thor, not Noah Syndergaard, Michael Thorbjornsen at the bottom. Interesting kind of mix at the top of this board. I'm kind of interested to see how the weekend plays itself out. I'm kind of interested to see how TJ's guys do since we got him in. We're going to bring him in on select weeks here. We're not going to ask T to turn into a golf pro, but he's got Tommy Fleetwood T5. He's got Tony Finau at T14 and Hideki Matsuyama T14. So technically, T has the best group of 3 golfers right now compared to us. What have you made of Pebble so far before we talk about something that came up last week that is completely idiotic in making the Players the 5th major? What do you think so far at Pebble?
You know, the thing is that Pete, you have to understand that Pebble's a gettable golf course. It's a beautiful golf course, and if you don't get a lot of weather there, it's a gettable golf course, and you're seeing guys going right at it. So listen, that's why I like it so much. There's you know. You can be 4, 5, 6 strokes down and still be in this thing because you can make some waves, literally, at Pebble. So you know, it's good to see Ricky Fowler back. Let's hope that he continue to do so. But let's see, somebody I'm looking. This is a guy that I was going to take, but I wanted to wait because I know you love him, and I didn't want to take him this week. Because I think this was the first week he was playing, but he's not doing all well. He's not doing all that bad, and he's in position T10 right now. Is your boy Shane Lowry? So keep an eye on Shane, and he's not at Pebble this week, or that today. So and he's right there. So keep an eye on Shane.
Well, and that was the interesting thing, too, is when you look at the leaderboard today and the guys that are going low early, they're all the guys over at Spyglass Hill today. Bhatia, Fowler, Hisatune, who is early in his round, Sam Burns at Spyglass.
Yeah.
Your highest guy, as far as the totality of the leaderboard right now, who's on Pebble today, is Matt Fitzpatrick. So interesting to see there. The debate came up this week, and I hate when this happens. I think it's stupid because it's a hard no from me. But and I do agree with Rory McIlroy here because he said, hey, the Players' Championship is amazing, but 4 majors is plenty. There's 2 things in play here. Number one, you can call it the 5th major, and that's fine. You want to call it the 5th major? No problem. There's nobody that's going to make this the 5th major, and the 4 majors we have are perfectly fine. I don't know why this debate comes up every couple of years here. And another guy who I never agree with, but Phil Mickelson came out and commented on X to somebody's post, and he's like, hey, it's not the 5th major. Trust me, I've won it before. I don't know. Why do we keep going back to this damn conversation about the 5th major and why we should make the player? Leave it alone. It's been fine in its place. It's fine in its new place as far as the calendar goes. Why do we have this debate every 2 years with this damn tournament?
I don't know. Like you said, what bothered me more is that I completely 100% agreed with Mickelson and with McIlroy, and I also agreed. I know. The other thing that Rory said was also true. I think the PGA should be moved back to August. I truly do. I don't like the season ending in August. I think it leaves too much of a hole. I know the whole not wanting to go against football kind of a thing, but I just think it leaves a hole at the end of the season. I mean, you're watching, the LPGA and then the Champions Tour. I mean, they're going on beyond that, and just all of a sudden, just feels like golf just ends. Like I don't like it at all. I 100% agree. It should not be a 5th major. It used to be the best field. I mean, Phil is right. You don't have the live golfers in there. It's not the best field anymore, like you do with some of the majors. And so just leave it what it is. It's a great tournament. It's a great golf course. We all know that. It's great for the fans. It's great to watch on TV. It's a hard golf course. Just leave it as it is. It's a fun week for the players. It's a fun week for the fans. Don't mess it up anymore. Let's leave it. It's good.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. I do like the fact that they made the Tour Championship clearly finish itself before the football season starts. But I also do agree with you that the PGA should be moved back. And there's ways to do this in the calendar. Like, you could have the PGA Championship be the one that literally is the last tournament before we start the playoffs. Imagine the drama that would come from that. And no shade on the Rocket. I think the Rocket Classic is always fun to watch. But you can maneuver the calendar where it's like, hey, last major, so you have to, if you're one of those guys that's fringe and you're not going to get in the FedEx Cup playoffs, you've got to do it, but you've got to do it in a major, not in the middle of freaking Detroit, where 3/4 of the great players aren't playing. Like, put it there, I'm fine with. And I think they need to keep it the way they do, where it ends before football season. But yeah, like the fact that on this year, when you're looking at the schedule, July 19th is the last day of major competition before you get to the playoffs is a little ridiculous. You can definitely put it in there. Stop the conversation every year about it being the 5th major.
Agreed.
It doesn't need to be. Speaking of major things here, we're going to finish up on this. We're going to finish up on this, and then I have the official first ever team that the Mike Arana show is going to latch themselves on, and when you see the picture, you'll understand why. But last night we found out that the Utah Jazz have been fined $500,000, and the Indiana Pacers fined $100,000 with the league, saying both teams sat healthy players in recent games while noting the moves that compromise the integrity of the game will not be tolerated. Overt behavior like this that prioritizes draft position over winning undermines the foundation of NBA competition, and we will respond accordingly to any further actions that compromise the integrity of our games, said Adam Silver in a statement. Additionally, we are working with our competition committee and a board of governors to implement further measures to root out this type of conduct. The Jazz fine, as we've talked about, comes related to the team actions against the Orlando Magic on February 7th, a game that they lost, and the Miami Heat on February 9th, a game that they won, where Utah benched both Lauri Markkanen and Jaren Jackson for the entirety of the fourth quarter. Mm-hmm. First thing I'm going to say is if you're going to be that much of a dumbass that you're going to intentionally tank before the All-Star break, at least have your coach try and call a timeout in the fourth quarter to look like he's trying, because Utah couldn't have made this more blatantly obvious than they did. The Indiana thing, sitting Pascal Siakam, that's something that we're going to talk about a long time over. What Utah is doing is absolutely ridiculous and egregious, and I'm glad that they got fined, and I hope the next one is over $1 million because they're not going to stop.
Here's the thing. I mean, so again, we talked about this. Like when I look at the Indiana situation, you feel that that's a different situation. They just got a couple of bad injuries at the end of last year. I mean, they really wouldn't be in that position. We're talking about these teams that do it. But listen, the competition committee hasn't come to my door yet today, but I have a solution. It's something we've talked about before, and here's the deal: reverse the order. It's that simple. The teams that get eliminated in the play-in, they get the first picks. The team that finishes last, you just go in order like that. Just reverse it. So now instead of getting the first pick, you're getting, the 12, 13, 14, 15, like make it damaging to those teams that are losing. I even had you want to really go extreme, just completely flip the order. You win the championship, you get the first pick. I mean, I know why it would
That's
work.
too extreme. I do agree with what you're saying about the play-in tournament, though.
Right. I mean, those teams that lose, they would get the first couple. They get the picks and then reverse the order. So you're making teams play games that are meaningful. If you truly want to get the last pick, then you know what you have to do. You actually have to play the games and win.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of different scenarios out, and again, I don't know what time today, or if it's tomorrow, or if it's Sunday morning, but the All-Star Weekend is going on in Los Angeles at the Intuit Dome. That action, if you want to call it action, those things will get started tonight. I believe it's the Celebrity Game and the Future Stars Game and this, that, and the other thing. Rising Stars, sorry. There's a couple of different ways to handle this, and there is going to be no right answer. But one of the things that I've heard is like a play-in tournament for the lower four teams, and the winner gets the number 1 pick, 2 pick, 3 pick, and 4 pick. I don't think the same team should ever have the same pick whatsoever. One of the teams that we're hearing is starting to drum up some of this attention to what Utah's doing is Oklahoma City because of protected picks. I think the protected picks... And then there is a million different layers of them. You want to protect a pick 1 through 4, that's fine. But some of these teams have protected picks top 12, protected picks top 10, protected picks if it's like 26 to 30. No, bullshit. 1 through 4, you get 1 protection on a pick. That's where we stop here. Because now you've got a team in Oklahoma City pissed off at Utah because of what Utah is doing, which would then screw Oklahoma City out of one of these 10 million protected picks that Sam Presti has. There's a million different ways to fix it. Playing another tournament. I don't know what Adam Silver's fascination is with all these damn tournaments. The one he's got right now, we talked about the NBA calendar as a whole. Like, the play-in tournament being at the beginning of the season is idiotic. Put the play-in tournament after the All-Star break, put everybody in the same spot. That's a way better idea than randomly doing it at the beginning of the season. The courts are horrible enough. Put everybody on one terrible court in the same building. You could kind of have a mid-season meeting of the minds in the NBA in Vegas. There's plenty of buildings in Vegas you could play this tournament.
Sure.
But then we get to the other problem. And this goes back to our conversation about the NBA calendar being jacked up is... Here we have, for the third consecutive year, a third consecutive different format in the NBA All-Star Game. Mack, is there any of the All-Star Weekend that you're going to watch this weekend? And is there any way to actually fix this, or do we really not give a shit? Because that seems like that's where most people are.
I could not tell you the last NBA All-Star Weekend that I watched. It's old. There's nothing new about it. There's nothing that is intriguing. But Mike, I can fix it. I can fix it.
Here we go.
I'm thinking, okay, what would be fun? What would be fun to see? I'm trying to all these new trends. Well, see one of the trends, of course, would be, you have 3-on-3. That's one of the big things. A lot of 3-on-3 tournaments. We're seeing it with the women and whatnot. That would be kind of fun. Come up, pick your teams. Let your teams, think your stars: Cunningham, Luka, SGA, Jokic. They could come up with a team. 3-on-3. That could be one thing. That one's all right. Here's the ones I really like though. Instead of a 3-on-3, I want to see a one-on-one tournament. Can you imagine Luka and Jokic going at it just one-on-one?
Watch any regular season game. You can get your own one-on-one tournament.
But just right there, just a game to 5. I just want to watch them play. Or how about this? Better yet, we're done with the slam dunk contest and whatnot. How about we have a game of horse? We all have played horse. We all have tried stupid, weird shots. Why not a game of horse?
They already tried that.
But
a couple of years ago.
We can make it better. We can make it better. Come on. But I love the 3-point shooting contest. But listen, it's boring watching one guy shoot, right? It really is. So here's how we fix it. You have one guy on one side, the other guy on the other side, and you say first person to 15 made shots advances. And let it go. And just now you split the screen, you're watching both guys. That would be more exciting, don't you think? You know what? Screw it. Just dump the whole NBA. Just dump the whole NBA All-Star Weekend. It's a mess. It's a mess.
It pisses me off because you and T especially. Like, I am a basketball junkie when it comes to college hoops, when it comes to the NBA. Next week on Wednesday's show, we're actually going to play a game of threes. 3 things that you can take forever, and you have to get rid of the rest of them. I haven't even told you about that one yet, but it'll be interesting to see what some of these names come out to. You're looking at the layout for All-Star Saturday night. Your 3-point contest: Devin Booker, Con Kneppel, Damian Lillard, Tyrese Maxey, Donovan Mitchell, Jamal Murray, Bobby Portis Jr., and Norman Powell. Come on, be bold here, Mac. Give me a winner for the 3-point contest out of that group.
Con Kneppel.
Booker, Kneppel, Lillard.
Kneppel. I'll go with Kneppel. Right. I want to go somewhere
young. Your shooting stars groups are interesting here. The All-Star team: Scotty Barnes, Chet Holmgren, Richard Hamilton. Team Cameron: Jalen Johnson, Con Kneppel, Corey Maggette. Team Harper: I love this. This I will watch. Dylan Harper, Ron Harper Jr., and Ron Harper Sr., who's not called Senior, but you know who I'm talking about. And then Team Knicks: Jalen Brunson, Karl Anthony Towns, and Allen Houston. Buckle up and wait for this one, folks. This is where it gets good. Carter Bryant, Jackson Hayes, Kashad Johnson, and Jace Richardson, your dunk contest. Not only did we bastardize the thing, now there's only 4 damn guys in the dunk contest. What are we doing? It pisses me off as a basketball fan because I don't even want to watch it. And you know how much of a statement that is.
Yeah. I know. And
Jace Richardson's winning the dunk contest, by the way.
There was a video I saw just this morning, and it was in one of the All-Star games, and I forget who it was, but somebody like knocked down Larry Bird, in one of the All-Star games, like actually fouled him. There was an actual foul in an NBA All-Star game. I mean, it's like anything else. It's become just unwatchable for a while. I mean, it's just like watching guys. I mean, we know there's no defense being played, but they don't even try. I mean, it's not a lot. It's not a lot of fun. It's who can come up with the coolest dunk during the game. I mean, that's what it's come down to. It's not you honestly, Mike. I mean, I know you love basketball. You can't even call that basketball. That's
I hate
not
it.
Basketball.
It's last year. Last year I think I watched it for about half the time, and if I remember correctly, last year it was in San Francisco, and then they also used the arena in Oakland for part of it. That was mainly the only reason I watched. Like, I'm going to make a bet on my 3-point winner and my slam dunk winner. I'm definitely going with Jace Richardson. That's a blast from the past. But right. When I get to Sunday, here's our little tournament: the Stars versus the World, the Stripes versus the game winner, the Stripes versus the game one loser, the All-Star Championship. I mean, it's a freaking joke.
You know what? Here's the deal. Think about it. Here's the bottom line. You've had to change the All-Star game so much, right? Basically, if you've had to change it this much, guess what? It doesn't work. It's not working. Get rid of you're blowing an opportunity. This is the weekend. We've said it 100 times this week. all eyes are on something. What are eyes on this weekend? Eyes are on college basketball. Eyes are on, some are on NASCAR, some college baseball. Tonight, you know what? You should have this should be Christmas Day Part 2. Really, it should be. You should have a huge lineup tonight and tomorrow and Sunday. This weekend on the NBA, boom, this is what you should have. Because the eyes will be there. You're not getting the eyes this week, guys. NBA, sorry, it's not happening. Not getting these eyes.
Yeah, and I mean, look what the NFL did. They leaned into it. They put the damn Pro Bowl. They got rid of all the other bullshit. They put a flag football game on a Tuesday night of Super Bowl week, and they did it because they probably still have sponsor contracts. I'm not going to get into the nuts and bolts of that. Couple things of note as we get up on out of here. Chris Paul announces his NBA retirement officially after being released by the Toronto Raptors. Is Chris Paul a Hall of Famer, yes or no?
I knew you were going to ask me that, and
I'm not participating because I get, that one picture from whatever that Disney movie is where everybody's like pointing the swords every time I talk about this. So I'm staying out of it. Do you think he's a Hall of Famer?
Oh gosh, I'm going to be so on the fence on this. I do not think he is, but he will get in. That's truly. But I'm being honest. I don't think he is, but I think he'll get in. I think his numbers are just going to be overwhelming enough to get in. But I don't see him as an all-star. A Hall of Famer.
Hell, he'd probably be the best all-star out there in the game. He'd probably try more than anybody else would. Buffalo, the Bills, Joe Brady has added a lot of experience to his coaching staff, hiring John Fox today as a senior assistant coach, which now includes 20 assistants in Buffalo, so Joe Brady not wasting any time there. I don't know if you've seen this or not, Mac, but the Tennessee Titans have the most Mike Arana show coaching staff of all time of Mike Arana show coaching staff. So look at this group of strapping young lads there. What do you see? What jumps off the page to you, Mac?
I see 9 great looking men. 11, 9 and 2 more right here. I see 11 of the best looking men in the world. That's right.
Too much sexy right there in Tennessee. Bobby Sala's staff going together. And bald is the theme in Tennessee, for those of you that couldn't figure that out.
Listen, if they don't have some sort of promotion with that right there, then Tennessee, you have missed the boat. Hey, I think I see your house right there.
Hey, Cremo, shave cream, by the way, not a sponsor of the show. They should be. If the NFL goes to sponsored jersey patches and Cremo is not the sponsor of this coaching staff right here, it's a total marketing fail. Should be a sponsor of the show, too. I've been using it for years. Look at the shine on this thing, man.
I tell you.
All right, any final words for you before we get up on out of here on this Friday with plenty of stuff to take our eyeballs this weekend, not named in NASCAR?
I know you said this after the baseball season that you're not happy that baseball's over, but you needed a little break from it. I kind of feel that way about football. I'm glad football's over. I kind of need a little break from it. But I am so happy that I've got my eyeballs. Kansas State up 2-0 on Iowa. Baseball is back. Life is good, man. Baseball is back. I don't have to worry. I know for the next 7, 8, 9 months, I got baseball every day.
Yeah, and then if you're a San Francisco Giants fan, that sounds like a death sentence. For everybody behind the scenes, for TJ, for Vegas Mac, back with you next week, Tuesday night. What will we have to talk about then? I'm sure it's a lot, but enjoy your damn weekend, man. Enjoy it. Valentine's Day, it's your last warning here, guys. If you've forgotten, I can't help you from this point forward. It's easy for us to remember. Special happy birthday to Vegas Mac, number 1 hundo, and he looks not a day over 22, man.
Thanks,
we'll talk with you next Tuesday. You know the drill. We're out.